Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Voices of Madison podcast. I'm Zamil Gray, your host for this week.
And I'm Jefferson Eleanor. We are both seniors here at Madison Park Technical Vocational High School, and we are in the Media Arts program.
And this is our second episode of season one. And if you missed our first episode with Eric Kelly, please watch it online.
hmm I'm excited about this new episode. For this episode, we have two special guests, Mozay Calloway and Mental Stamina. Is that
hmm
right?
That's correct.
Thank you guys for being on the show. We're really excited to learn a little bit more about you guys and, you know, to see what drives you guys to be great. You know what I'm saying?
Amen. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
So, we heard it's true that either both of you or one of you have created a video game. Is that true?
I'm working on a game actually.
Oh, you're working on it? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. So the game is called the Hip Hop Game.
Mm.
So it's pretty much making a multiplayer, interactive. It's the vision is that it's going to be blockchain based, but it'll be done in a few formats so that you could play it as a board game or as a online based game. And so it's be a pretty simple game as far as like the interactions are concerned. But as far as like um, where it can go, the levels of it is kind of ambitious because I want the I guess the boards to have like the ability to kind of go through them. And what that means is it's like the two-dimensional game board in real life when applied to like the virtual world would be kind of this portal where you'd be able to explore it. So we'll make it out in levels.
That sounds
Actually,
really interactive.
Before we get into more deeper levels of what you guys do, I do want to know. Tell me more about yourselves first for the viewers that don't know what you do mostly. And
Yeah,
so, what do you
sure.
do?
So I guess by definition of trade, I'm a developer. That's primarily what my job title's been for the most of my adult life. It's been like a front end developer, front end engineer. So I've been coding and programming. But that's always been my kind of 9 to 5 or my like kind of what I always consider for myself is like the things that I did. So I've always been like a artist and entrepreneur. So I've been making music and I've been creating events. I had a t-shirt company at a period. I do marketing, but none of that stuff really pays the bills. More so as like the coding did. But primarily what I do now is invest and kind of come up with ideas.
Mhm. So, like, growing up, did you ever see yourself, indulging in this type of business?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Like, I look at what I'm doing really kind of now, and it's like, it just feels like playing with GI Joes to a degree. Like you making your own little dimensions and rules and stuff to your games. But growing up, I kind of always felt I would be going my own path just because the stuff that people always kind of put in front of me to do just never seemed like my path in life. And it's kind of like you just gotta figure it out, and I always know I was going to kind of have to figure it out or just kind of fail completely.
Mm.
What,
Okay.
what about you, Mosey? You settle in that same category of like developer?
No, I'm complete opposite.
Mm.
Uh, you know, best part about growing a business is everyone plays their part. Mental's the developer and the tech guy. I'm the nerd. I'm the businessman. We're both nerds, but we're nerdy in different ways.
Yeah.
I'm the business development guy. I spent a good portion of my young adult career in the legal space, doing pre-settlement funding, which is people who have lawsuits. They need cash advances while they're waiting to get their, settlements. So we offer them cash now. And I did that for a number of years. Built up a few different successful entities, started my own entity, and then I retired about 8 years ago at age 33. Um, and I started to do music. And I wanted to grow up a music company, something that was different, that focused completely on intellectual property, for me as the artist, working with other artists, and just building this network of CEOs. So it's just a way for me to control everything that I'm putting out of my head without anyone telling me what to do and how to do it. So that took some time to learn. Over the years, it's developed into the business aspect of it. I was able to partner up with the game over a year ago and kind of get, immersed into this NFT metaverse space. And from there, I've just taken off, and now I'm a Web3 artist. I call myself the Mad Themer. I'll write you a theme song today, and you'll have it tomorrow. And that's my motto, is just to be consistent in my consistency, committed to these commitments. So on top of that, I have a venue in Syracuse where we do music. It's a multi-dimensional healing center called the Intergalactic Academy of the Arts and Sciences. Within that, we have 3 structured businesses: the Alien Opera House, Conscious Productions, which does sound production and everything that you see here. We partner with Hip Hop Gang to be able to do crypto coding and chess for the youth that come into our space. We have a multi-use gym upstairs that's currently being used for indoor soccer, fully turfed out. Have a full studio and a stage to do events and have studio sessions. And the goal is just to connect with the youth, connect with young entrepreneurs, connect with young artists, and give them that place where they can come in, hang out. You watch those shows back in the day, like Saved by the Bell or Power Rangers. They always had that cool little chill spot that they hung out at after school, and that's the type of space that we're creating in Syracuse. But it's a traveling circus, so we get to take it everywhere we go. But that's just an introduction to what we do. Who I am, Mozay Calloway.
Okay. So, after diving into what you guys kind of do, is it like, do you feel like you made the right choice?
Absolutely. Nothing. Everything happens for a reason. Nothing is a coincidence. It's not by coincidence that I was able to be here in the capacity I am, comfortable, and able to just give my full all into the space and give it my all. So yes, because I'm free. We all want to be free, and this is my freedom.
You gotta ask me that. Depends on which month you ask me that in. My life too dynamic to be like, did I make the right choice completely? Because every 6 months my life is in a completely different state than it was, and so I make very dramatic differences in my life every 6 months, and it's real consistent regardless of if I kind of choose to play it safe or not. It's like that's so. At all times I got regrets about moves that I feel like a complete failure at. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, nah, if I'd have played it like that, I'd be good, And so, it's like, it's one of the things of life's too dynamic to. But it's always like you want to be optimistic and feel like whatever decisions you made is the right ones, because you can't make no other ones. You know what I'm saying? But in retrospect, it's like. The best teacher kind of is hindsight.
But you're proud of those moments, though, right? Like
I'm proud of. I call all my losses. I call them all my L's. I say I'm proud of them because all my losses are lessons.
But what would you say is for both of you? What would you say is your proudest moments in your career so far?
Man, if I had to really think about it on the fly, the proudest moment is just being here. Honestly, a lot of people quit, after a while. Whether you're playing professional anything, sports or whatnot, the shelf life is generally 3 to 5 years. Mento's been an artist for well over 20 years of his life, and he still has a passion for it. I've been an artist for 6 years now, and the passion is steadily growing day in and day out. So just sticking to it. I use words like consistency and commitments. Once I'm committed to it, I'm going to be consistent. So being able to do that makes me proud.
I'll say with me, just the thing I've most accomplished about is out of nothing, I've made and lost $2 million. And that's just kind of been out of thin air to a degree. But yeah, that's like a high point and a low because it's like, it shows, how kind of high you can throw the ball, but then it's like how deep can you catch it, So in situations like that, that's kind of like it's just like, yeah, you don't really expect to kind of have that much, fire in your hand at once.
Okay.
So you guys both went through like some highs and low moments of your career, you would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, because I heard you said 8 years ago in your career, you said you retired
Yes.
8 years ago, 33.
33.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you guys were like late 20s, early 30s, man.
Yeah.
Like
Happens when you live a stress-free
Like,
life.
when
as best as
you say
can,
he's
brother.
been in music for 20 years, I was like,
what?
20 years.
I've been
I never
for
would've
20
guessed.
years.
I never would have guessed. So you guys, you've been in the music industry for a while, 5+ years, 20 plus for you. So you guys, have made a lot of music. You guys make music videos. So what does it feel like, to make music videos and to perform if you have?
Oh man! So I performed last night. I practice a lot. I have a show tomorrow. It'll be on our YouTube as well. A guy behind you is QDC. He's a videographer, so he's the guy behind the visuals that I shoot. He's transitions are amazing. It's the most amazing feeling to shoot a video for the first time, and the second time, and now he's just like, all right, cool. How can I make this performance better? You get with the right people to put together the treatments, the packages, the scenes, so that you can capture visually what you want your audience to see. And it's no different than making songs. It's like you want to make music that you hear in your head, but you also want to make music that people want to hear.
Right.
So it's like it's a constant battle for me because I'm so conscious in everything that I want to talk about, and then I don't want to dumb myself down. I don't want to step outside of my box. I just want to stay true to what I do, and create that pathway for the ears that it needs to find. So I just keep it very simple. I don't try to do too much when it comes to this music.
You don't get nervous in front of crowds, like the crowds and stuff. Like, it's the biggest crowd you've performed in front of.
The biggest crowd I performed at was about 500 people at South by Southwest. We were at this. We were on the street actually, and there's just like these performers that say, "Hey, pay me $20 and I'll give you the mic." And it just so happened to be a lot of people out there. The entire crowd's walking the streets. So to see people stop in their tracks to listen to what I was saying, I pay attention to all that. I usually wear very dark shades, so that you can't see what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at you. And I want to tap into you that way. Pause.
Yeah, I used to see a lot of people in New York that do that. Like, they start performing, and then you catch yourself like mesmerized by what they do, and you like stop and you gotta look. So
it's frequencies and vibrations. Those sounds capture you.
Yeah.
So that's how I call it trifecta. You want to tap into your the mind, the heart, and inside the spirit.
So
the spirit is the last hardest thing to capture because music makes you move.
True.
It's a Bob Marley quote. It says you hear the music and it just makes you come to life.
Yeah.
That's how you want to give it to them. So I want to bring them to life.
What about you, Mental Stamina?
I'd say with making music and I've probably been more successful through proxy, because I've managed over 50 different artists. So I've helped a bunch of them put out videos. So the first artist I managed, he got music videos with Eminem and Pharrell and Dave Grohl and all of them. And then the last artist that I managed, we went for Quantity, where he was dropping a music video once a week. And so we put out, over 100 music videos. But I'll say the biggest crowd I rocked in front of was at Highline Ballroom. It was probably about 700 people. It was back when I was on tour. And we played a couple big joints, but both the biggest joints was all in New York. And play some, outside festivals and things like that where it'd be like quantities of people where it's like, hard to track. But I would say like the most fulfilling thing out of it is just kind of being able to carve your own path. It's like nobody tell you to be an artist, so it's like anything you're doing out of it is complete self fulfillment. So you got to have your own goals and achievement points of like this is why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? So like for me it was performing. So like back in '07. I did over 100 different shows that year just because it was like the quantity of performing. But I would definitely say I don't really got music videos that fit to the caliber of like how I wanted to release them. And a lot of my ideas definitely fell short because, they would be either underfunded or before their time and shit. Sorry.
No, you're good. But to go back, we first touched on the video game and what made you, get into it. What really, not really what made you get into it, but like what really inspired you to say, hey, like I know I make music, but like I want to indulge in this video game stuff too.
Well, see, that's kind of the same rebellion, right? Like my first real rebellion in life was video gaming. Atari 2600. 3 years old playing Pac-Man and Cubert. Can nobody touch me? You know what I'm saying? Then hip hop come along. I'm maybe 10, 11 embracing that, whereas I was embracing gaming when I was 3, 4 years old, trying to figure out how do I make my own game. See, the internet and programming and cryptocurrency, those are the new rebellions, right? So the path really went gaming, hip hop, and then the digital. And those were the freedoms that really was like, when I was a little kid, my mother would be like, yo, you can't make no money playing video games. You can't make no money with this hippity hop. You can't make no money with the internet. My mother wouldn't buy me a computer because she told me I had a PlayStation. She couldn't really see the differences between like playing a video game and developing a video game. And so it was like, yeah, so it was like, those were the things that kind of set me in motion to be like, it's no rules around these things. So as gaming became its own platform and dimension, it was like, that's where I want to be at.
Okay.
That's real nice. That's what we see a lot of today too.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years back, the game Fortnite, and nobody thought a teenager was about to win like $3 million playing that game, but they did. So
not even just that, they didn't think people could make like $1 million a month.
Yeah.
And they did that all playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Time's changing, so those things you didn't think you was gonna be successful at, it's different now. So
exactly. You got so many avenues of success now because y'all talking about people playing it and winning and getting prize money. Other people playing and getting sponsorship money from their streaming. Other people making skins and stuff on it. My homeboy, they took his little dance and put it on Fortnite. He didn't make no money off of that.
Oh, that's not what's up.
Oh, yeah, that's not what's
that's not what's up.
But then after they did it to Block Boy JB, they kind of changed the rules around. So now the artists get paid when they take your dance and stuff. But it's all of these platforms. And then if you would think about it, Fortnite came from PUBG.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like all of these different platforms for how you make money off of the stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And you also indulge in the video game category?
No, I don't play games at all, bro. I'll play the hip hop game. And like, I mean, for me, time is so valuable, bro. I can think of a lot of other things that I could do rather than sitting there.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. So he's saying your video games, they take time, man.
But see, here's the thing. It's about art, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, at the end of the day, how much time do it take you to sit there and make a beat? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How much time do it take you to sit there and freestyle? And you to freestyle 50 songs that nobody ever gonna hear but your mother. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a time thing of like everybody see their vision for putting in their 1,000 hours. So for somebody, it might not be make no sense for them to become a master in chess and sit there and play 1,000 games of chess, or the same thing for a Fortnite. But for some people, they be like, nah, once I get my Fortnite skills up, I'm streaming, I'm doing what I'm doing, playing against my people. So, gaming is, it's an art form though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's so many different professions within it. You have to find your space. I'm definitely the guy who play chess all day, or I don't even watch TV, bro. I listen to music all day.
Right.
I'm constantly thinking about music, and I'm constantly fundraising in our music space. And that's how I choose to spend my time on most given days if I'm not around people. I can go on my Discord and I'll see that Mental's playing StarCraft. I'm like, he's playing that damn game. Let me leave him alone for a few hours, man.
Yeah.
Then I'll hit back at him. All right, cool, let's get to work. So we all have our things that we do, but it doesn't change how we come together, to kind of, move the needle forward.
We're talking about moving a lot here. If we're gonna look at music, what type of music moves you guys? And like what artists specifically would you say when you listen to that artist, you're like, they know what they're doing?
High vibrations. You got to be talking about something that's going to, feel like an increase in my life. So it's like there are certain artists that I can't talk to because the content doesn't match how I live. And there are certain artists that do. So, I can get down with the J. Cole's, I can get down with, some of the Kendricks, I can get down with some Jay-Z, the classic boom bappers, who are, telling a story, teaching you about life, versus those that have, a singular subject matter. And that's just not for me. So, my inspirations come from knowledge. And I need to hear that in order to be inspired. I need to hear that to stay tuned. But that's just my preference.
Yeah.
What about you?
I look at it like it's like what kind of food I'm eating right now. It's like, do I feel like I need some French toast with some powdered sugar and some syrup on it, or do I need some crawfish with some hot sauce on it and some soy sauce and some wasabi? So everything is a different flavor. And so when it comes to music, I might be, I love, like, I'll be in my zones listening to like Bjork and Tom York. If I'm, ethereal, if I'm in my, vibed out mode, I might be in some Sizzler. But, I definitely am familiar with all the horror stories. Like, I'm all of the Freddy Kruegers and the Michael Myers and, the artists who done put two of their whole lives on this tracks, and they didn't die because you saw them crashing out 7 months in advance. You're like, don't drop that soul, they gonna kill you. Don't drop that soul. And he dropped that soul. And you just like, damn, that's the song I knew he was going. Should have did that. But it's like it's some of those stories like Young Pappy, Draco the Ruler. Like it's certain people who done went out with stories that, the music highlights it so much that it's like, how you missed that story? That was crazy. Like imagine like missing out on Juice World and you like, damn, I saw that coming. But you're like, oh, did he really see that coming? But it was like he saw that coming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a lot of stories in there.
Well, you named a lot of, artists, some celebrities. What are some celebrities that you guys have worked with?
Well, I've hired a bunch. You know what I'm saying? So like it's collaborations.
Yeah, collaborations, they count,
Yeah, so like I've, for me, like cannabis was like my first big like obsession as a rapper. So like when I threw a festival in DC called Weed Week, I got cannabis as the headliner. I had Micah 9, Killer Priest from Wu-Tang Clan. And so, I put together a bunch of shows where it was just like people that I wanted to see that had an impact on me. Like, I did a show with this artist named Planet Asia. He came through, I made a flyer for him, and I had like Bruce Leroy on it, called it Black Belt Theater. And he made that into his album cover, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I've had bunches of little interactions with things where it's like, when they tell the story, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, that came from stamina." Like, worked, and like I said, I work with a lot of different artists by proxy through me managing artists.
Right.
And so through managing artists, I did a bunch of stuff, but on my album, I got an artist named Cambado on there, dope lyricist. I got Zan Man on there, out the DMV. And so on my album, I put together, some curated people, artists that I mess with. But just in general, just kind of wherever that ball fell.
Mm.
I haven't worked with any uh, celebrities musically, like personally, but like my opera house has put together shows for musicians. So we've put together shows for Leighton Green, Carl Thomas, and Case. We put together a show for 38 Special. It was like his coming out party. Cam was in our building a year ago. We had a Styles P event that we put together. Worked heavily with JT Campbell's from Clean of the South. He does music down in Texas. But that's it. We've had the Loonies also on the stage. I work with a lot of artists that do augmented reality art. It's like you take a picture on the wall and you put your phone on it with your camera and it'll come to life. So these guys are big on the EDM scene and they want to put music into that. That's kind of like where we're working at. Those are celebrities to me, but nobody mainstream. I'm trying to stay away from them as much as possible.
That makes sense.
Is there a reason to staying away from the mainstream as much as possible? Is that
Absolutely.
So-
And for me, it's like I'm an independent and I want to do things a certain way. It's like you can only cross to certain realms in this entertainment space without paying a tax or a toll, let's call it. And I want to keep it simple because you can really ride your own lane with just this Web3 space where they're not too much playing in that. So for me, it doesn't make sense to integrate with them in this space when I'm building it with the people who are actually in the space, because the people in that space don't really care about the celebrities, because those are the type that will come in and use the celebrity to try to get money from the constituent person when they're not building with the community. So it's just more important to just build regular people. Celebrities are just regular
Eat
people.
all opportunities.
It's dope.
Everything is a potential plug or a pivot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no blanket bad setups. Like some people should be just like, I'm never gonna get married. I'm never gonna have kids. I don't want no job. It's like anything you do can be a position platform for your for your success. So it's like the mainstream is nothing but the successful motherfuckers. So it's like if we like, I'm not messing with nobody who done went diamond. It's like we limited ourselves to it's like, and it's just the mainstream is just the successful stuff. It's like mainstream shoe company is what, Nike, Reebok.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're not going mainstream,
Jordan?
then we just giving ourselves a ceiling.
Right. And to go back, you talked about getting into what you guys like to do now at like a really young age. You guys have any kids?
I have two.
You have two. Like, have your kids ever come to you and told you what they wanted to do in life?
Yes, every day.
Every day.
Every day. My daughter wants to be a veterinarian. My son wants to be a YouTuber.
How old are they?
How old are they?
My son's 11. My daughter's 12. My
Mm.
daughter's been wanting to be a veterinarian. She said she's going to be a veterinarian since she was 5. And she will not remind you every day. She will remind you every day that she's going to be a veterinarian. I got cats, dogs, and guinea pigs in my house, bro. And she's taking care of them all. Well, my son, he wants to be a gamer. I sit here and watch YouTube all day, and I'm like, bro, what are you watching? It's the same several guys, but I realize that he's learning from them. I just leave him alone. Can't stifle his growth.
Gotta support it.
God, let him live his own, life and do his path.
Okay.
I ain't old enough for kids yet.
You're not old enough?
Not yet.
You You're not up there yet?
Nah,
Almost?
I don't know. You got some level of maturity that I'm missing out on. Just may
Yo,
get hit
I
at
respect that.
sure.
I respect that.
Well, what you got? I mean, your children's childhood. We want to go into your childhood real quick. Like, growing up, what was it like? Really, did you know you wanted to do this, or was it like something that came to you later in life?
Music.
Yeah.
Music,
Producing
the
music.
law school, the law
Yeah.
school stuff.
You know, so this is what 2015 summer. I was doing renovations on my house, and my neighbor was a master carpenter, so he had helped me put sheetrock on my ceilings because sheetrock's very heavy. And I lived in Brooklyn. I had these big 12-foot ceilings in my house, so I needed help. But I also found out in connecting with my neighbor who I lived next to for like 8 years prior to actually meeting him personally. He had a music studio in his house. He had a big old stage in his backyard, and he was doing this big showcase. So he asked me to come and be the MC for the show, and I did that for him as a thank you for helping me in my house.
Right.
And then I started to hang out with him more. So we go 2015, 16. Then a year goes by. I did another show for him, MC the show. Introduce all the artists, and I liked doing that. That was fun.
Right.
But it also gave me a different level of public speaking than I was used to. Like I'm used to going to conferences and talking to people about legal jargon and what's the next big thing to come out into our space. It's another thing to like talk to these different artists, and every artist have a different personality and a different vibe and aura to them. So after 2 years, he's like, "You're always here." He's like, "I know you got some bars in your head. You're a smart dude. Put on a beat." And then I probably spit my first song, and then I got hooked.
Mm.
But at the time, I had just retired, so I was just looking for something to do.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a good outlet for me to transition into, as I was like getting used to just having all this freedom.
Yeah.
So I just spent doing music all day. Next thing you know, I had like 40 songs, maybe 2 of them were hot. And then, I just kept working at it, staying with it, consistency. I lost my wife to cancer a few years ago. And that's what's kind of like been my driving force for the last, say, 3.5 years. It's just been grief. And I created from that for a while. And I'm past that stage. And now I'm working with my guy, Mental Stamina. And he's helped me to discover a new path. I get to talk about Web3 things, cryptocurrency. That covers a lot. I have enough pain tracks. Now let me share this knowledge. Let me coach and teach. And you can do that through lyrics as well. So I focus on just like onboarding with lyrics, teaching with lyrics, educating and all those things with lyrics.
Okay.
That's dope, man.
That's really dope. My condolences too.
Thank you.
For me, I pretty much started like when I was 16. As far as like you said like basically when you get started and how you
how'd you get started?
As far as like gaming, always had a passion for gaming. Always had a vision for wanting to kind of figure that out, but never really understood how. When I was 16, I was got in AP computer science class, and that's when I started programming. And that same year, I used to, skip class and go to my health teacher class, and she'd let me sit on her computer. And I used to be on the freestyling.com, like the internet forum. So, the same year I started like, the text for rapping and stuff on the internet. And then I started coding. And so, both of those things kind of hit into play in my life at the same time. And they really went hand in hand because I ended up building my first web platform, which was, like a online hip hop community. And so, but at the same time, I'm talking with the people on there and just like, oh, what you think of these bars, da 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 da. I'd be like, oh, what you think of this page? Is it loading slow? Is it this feature? And so it was like those two things really grew together hand in hand out of like supporting my music community with my tech skills. And so I really didn't really see that as like a path. Like it wasn't like, oh, this is gonna be my job, because at that time it really wasn't no money behind that. It was like it wasn't like Google had ads out and all of that stuff back then. So it was more just like a passion thing. But as that grew out, I started realizing that it was a lane for marketing and a lane for communications and for development. And that just came out of the necessity of like doing something that I loved and trying to keep the upkeep on it.
Mm-hmm. I understand. So for both of you guys, growing up, which like when you first started, you was doing the law thing. Who was someone that you looked up to when you were like going through law school?
Well, my law school career was cut very short because I was attacked by a motor vehicle one day, and it took me out of commission for like 8 months.
Whoa.
But I ended up getting into the legal space and pre-settlement funding, and I realized I didn't have to go to law school anymore because I was learning everything I needed in this space. So, you take in like 13, 14 years worth of that knowledge. Yeah, I could have went back, but then it just got to the situations like, do I want to be in debt because I never wanted to practice law. It was like a personal goal of mine just to have 5 degrees in my life, and I have time to get it. I'll go. But I just decided to take a different path. God sent me on a different direction. So I just never looked back, and I was able to carve out a very nice niche career for myself because I'm the only one in that space that had that type of position. There's been no one else since then.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Who did you look up to as a kid?
Who did I look up to as a kid?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a guy. As a kid, to be honest with you, bro, I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. So I didn't have no idols. There's no one that I looked up to. Like I very disposition is just like I have real leaders like my mom, my dad,
right.
Or like old church leaders that I used to rock with. As I got older, you start to see people for who they really are. So therefore, it's just my mom and my dad, bro. And and then the people that I've met, like I'll give Mental a lot of respect because hearing his story and then being able to get to know him and now putting that story together with his personality, that's a great man, But if I had to say in my adulthood, I had grown an affinity to a gentleman named Robert Smith. Robert Smith is the CEO and founder of a company called Vista Equity Partners. They're a tech company out in Texas. He's the wealthiest black man in America. You didn't know that he was the wealthiest black man in America until about 10 years ago when he got married. And that's when he came out to the world. And always like that. It's kind of like a Count of Monte Cristo, kind of like, or Kaiser Sose type of deal. Right. So I always like that. I watched a lot of movies growing up. I probably can give you more movie characters that I admired more than people in real life.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I grew up, I'll say, Samuel L. Jackson in the movie Fresh.
Oh.
And he basically coached his son the whole movie, teaching him to play chess, but as a metaphor for his life. And it was, he used to, in the movie, he would just said, putting too much stress on your queen. Don't worry about if you lose your queen, it's just another piece. You know what I'm saying? And my man was just like, I beat Bobby Fischer, put the clock on him, but it was just like his principles in it of like, nah, it's like what you scared of, and I can. Hey, who gonna see me? Can't nobody see me if I'm in my zone. You know what I'm saying? And so those types of principles is what I like to stand on.
Yeah. Speaking of inspirations and that for the the School of Madison part, there's a lot of kids here that they want to do stuff. That's why they join the Votes. There's careers that they want to fulfill, and so what is some advice or inspiration you can give those kids to keep going and fulfill what they want?
Oh man, first let me just say, I love your school.
Thank you.
It's probably one of the dopest educational institutions outside of college that I've been to in my life. I've been to real cool schools in LA that have the highlight of their school is the cafeteria because they have Chick-fil-A or stuff in there.
Right, yeah.
And it's just don't let the highlight of school be lunch. You guys have every literal career in this building that you could literally have in your life.
Right.
The only advice is I was talking to you know, some of the faculty, and it's like they say like the biggest things is that the kids that don't come to school. With all this here, and I was like, asking, I said, well, what do you do at home?
Yeah.
Like with all this here, how can you not come to school?
Yeah, we wonder
You know?
that too.
It's like, you know, so I would just tell you, just come to school. You never know, man, what you might miss out on or what you might discover as a passion just being here. That's what this place is for. You know, they literally have every specialty.
Yeah.
A dental office in there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How can you not want to come to school?
It's crazy too, cause
But yeah, just come to school. You might see a lot more of me here. Just come to school.
yeah.
Right.
Come hang out with us.
See
You know,
those.
school is cool. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. School is cool.
Thank you.
What was the advice though?
The advice is to. Okay, sorry, I got off on.
No,
a
you
tangent.
No, you good,
Got
man.
off on a
Thank you.
tangent.
I mean,
My advice to you would be to just stay committed to the commitments and stay consistent to your consistency. Once you
Okay.
start something, finish it. You know, that is all. Just be consistent and be committed. I live by those.
Mine is, don't be scared to pivot. It's you're gonna have a lot of different hats. You know, I remember I was working a job at Nike as a software developer, and I got another job offer. And I told my supervisor at the time, and he was like, you're gonna have multiple careers in your life. Like, just accept that right now, and like, don't even think about it. It's like wherever you at right now is not where you're gonna be in a few years. And so now I just really embrace like the change of the evolution a lot more. And so I tell people, like, if you, whatever you working at 20, don't expect to be working at 25. Like, I meet people very rarely who have jobs like for long periods of time, especially men. I will say that women tend to stay in jobs a lot longer, but I think they kind of take the brunt edge of the stick a little bit more as far as like becoming complacent with where they are. And so what I just say, like, be treacherous and demanding, for your position, because that job don't love you, and that job is just paying you, just enough to keep you there. And so just, always evolve, and just, understand that it's always problem solving, and that it's no easy answers for all of this stuff.
And you're gonna fail sometimes.
You're gonna fail a lot.
Fail a lot. So I have an opening bar. Says how many times I failed in business. A lot. But Les Brown is a great motivational speaker. He has an amazing quote that says, "Fail is the first attempt at learning." So be expected to fail, but get back up, keep trying. The pivot is understanding when your consistency has been consistent enough that you can do something different. So
Right.
don't be afraid to change up.
Sorry, we're running a little short on time, but I appreciate you guys for coming out. I had one more question, like, I'm gonna ask it real quick. Actually, what would it take for you guys to come back to MP and help us record a music video?
Oh, just
Anything
the
music
invitation, brother.
Anything. Music
Got my
related.
guy Q here. He'll be with me when I come here, and we're definitely able to provide visual aids. Just call. We're only a few hours away.
Right.
I would just suggest to try not to do it in one like sitting, because I think that we get a little too lax and think that the recording process is one step, because the creation of the music is one step, and then the writing of the music, creating the music, and then this is the last step. That's the actual visuals and coordination with the music. And so the music should fully be done before you start doing the video.
Yeah.
Right. Appreciate that, though.
Much love.
Of course.
Appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you again
gotta
for
close it
coming
out.
on this Madison Park Technical Vocational High School podcast.
Voices of MP.
Yeah, with MP. It's been an honor to be in you guys' presence of artistry. So, again, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, everybody. I'm Jamil,
And I'm Jefferson.
and we'll
Peace.
see you next time.
Peace.